What kind of attention is your nursing career needing right now? And what kind of intention would you like to set for achieving your professional goals? Let's talk about attention and intention right here on episode 159 of The Nurse Keith Show. Well, hello and welcome to the Nurse Keith Show. I am so grateful you're listening, whether it's your first time tuning in or you've been hanging out with me on the airwaves here for months or years. Thanks for being part of the growing Nurse Keith Nation. This podcast is all about you and your nursing career, and I'm here to share education, inspiration, and ideas that can get you moving in a positive and inspired direction. And I want to remind you that you can help other people find the show by leaving a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or iTunes. You know, there are 33 5-star ratings for the Nurse Keith Show over there on Apple Podcasts, and there are 24 written reviews. Would you like to join the party? I would so appreciate it if you would consider doing so. And if you want to see the show notes for this episode, hop on over to nursekeith.com/episode 159 for all the details. Anyway, I'm thrilled you're here, so let's dig into today's topic. Just recently on Monday, May 14th, 2018, I published a blog post entitled Your Nursing Career, Attention and Intention. And my intention, no pun intended, for that blog post was to call your attention, no pun intended again, sorry, that energy flows where attention goes. And while that might seem like kind of a new agey kind of aphorism, it's actually true. I have seen it in my life over and over and over and over again. My wife has to keep explaining to me over and over and over again because I don't learn the lesson. But it's true that energy flows where attention goes. So whether it's a cliche or not, we can just chalk one up for the fact that a lot of cliches are undeniably true. And it's just that we use them a lot, and that's why they're cliches. So what I want to illustrate for you here is that, like I say in the blog post, if you're spending your working hours at your place of employment, focused on how awful everyone is, how terrible the administration is, how terrible your patients are, how high and how the workload is just untenable, then that level of attention that you're giving to all of that negativity at work will keep you locked in a fairly cynical place, mentally, emotionally, and otherwise. Likewise, if stuff is going on in your personal life and it's impacting your ability to really show up at work, to really do a good job, to be efficient, to be productive, then your personal life might be part of the attention hog energy that's happening. And you need to dismantle that. You need to unpack that so that you don't have so much negativity dominating your consciousness and dominating your energy. So, like I said in the blog post, having said that, I know we all have our different personal life circumstances going on, a lot of which we don't really have control over. If you happen to have aging parents who take up a lot of your personal bandwidth, you're going to appointments with them or trying to run interference for them with the healthcare industry or the insurance companies, or you're just arranging their care and trying to make sure that they get everything that they need, well, that is going to take up a lot of your time and will definitely turn your attention away from your career. Likewise, if you have a disabled spouse, maybe a disabled child, if you have animals in your life who need a lot of attention from you, that can also take your attention away from your career. However, if the things you're focusing on are things that you actually have some modicum of control over, or some ways in which you could exert some control, there might be some changes you can make internally and externally to move the energy for yourself in your life so that you can get back on track with your career. again, I don't want you to feel that I'm saying that your life circumstances aren't important. They certainly are. And if you have a disabled spouse, if you have aging parents, if you have a disabled child, that is definitely going to take the lion's share of your attention. If you're in a position in your life where you don't have those sorts of things weighing on you right now, then consider yourself lucky, count your blessings, and then figure out how you can turn your attention to the things that matter most for your personal and professional development. So I get calls and emails and texts all the time from nurses all over the United States, and now some outside of the United States, who just aren't feeling great about the way their work life is going. They're either exhausted, they're treated really poorly at work, they're victims of bullying, or they're just working at workplaces where there's a really negative workplace environment, or there's something else going on where they're not feeling taken care of, and their work has become pretty much a drain on their time, on their energy, and on their positivity, the way that they look at life. If work is really coloring the way that you look at your life, if it's causing you to feel negative and cynical about everything else around you, then something has to change about your professional trajectory. A lot of nurses reach out to me because, yes, they're unhappy with their workplaces, maybe there's terrible management, etc. But many of you also reach out to me because you've just been ignoring a lot of the important things about the growth of your career for far too long, and you need to have a fire lit underneath you so that you can get that career train out of the station once again. And that is something I love to do with my career coaching clients, helping people get back on track. So if you have been hanging out in your career and marking time and not really putting a lot of proactivity into, let's say, growing your network, connecting with like-minded professionals, doing research on what's happening in the profession and where you would like to head next. If you've been just nose to the grindstone, just doing your thing and not paying much attention to your resume, your LinkedIn profile, all those other things, then maybe it's time to shift your attention and set an intention for you to start taking care of those things so that you can move the needle for and with your career. So whether your roadblocks that are coming up are personal or professional, we can definitely work together to overcome them with the right amount of attention and the right intention to help you knuckle down and double down on your career and do the work that needs to be done. Do the dirty work that has to be done to make sure your career can thrive. Life circumstances, like we said, cannot always be changed, but the way that you look at them can sometimes be changed, or sometimes there's other things in your life that you can tweak so that you can summon the courage, the stamina, the insight to dig deep, get certain issues resolved, and then move forward with a new pair of glasses, a new set of lenses that helps you see your career in a new light. So like I wrote about in the blog post, I wrote, let's not forget about intention. So when we were talking about attention, I was writing about that as a potentially powerful force in the ongoing feeding and watering of your nursing career and your life in general, of course. And you can take your attention and focus it on whatever it is you think needs your attention right now. So some of you might be in the midst of getting ready for summer. It's now springtime when I'm recording this. So you may be very focused on physical health. Maybe you're exercising again. Maybe you've been going to the gym since you made your New Year's resolutions back a few months ago. Maybe you're focused on losing weight because you're going to be going to the beach this summer and you want to look and feel good. Maybe your kids are getting ready to finish school and you're really focused right now on parenting, and you're focused on planning a really awesome summer for you and your family. That said, this being spring and heading into summer, maybe gardening is your focus. whatever it is, wherever you choose to send your energy, wherever you send your attention, wherever you focus your gaze, your inner gaze, that's where you want energy to flow. And that's why I encourage you to focus on the positive things that make you feel good, that make you feel productive, that make you feel great about your life and your lifestyle and your family and the choices that you've made. If you can focus on those things the most, if you can put the lion's share of your attention on those things, that is really going to help you feel better and make really good choices all around. So we all have varying attention spans for certain areas of our lives. So let's say, like the example I used in the blog post, when it comes to earning CEUs, you don't pay a whole lot of attention to it because it's basically the kind of thing you rush to do at the end of the year to make sure you have enough credit so that you can safely apply for your nursing license and know that if you get audited, you'll have enough CEUs under your belt to be able to show the Board of Nursing that you did your due diligence. So the CEUs is just sort of something that doesn't get much attention. You don't put a lot of energy into it. You just do the easiest courses you can to get the most bang for your buck and earn your 20 or 30 or 40 CEUs that you need. That's fine. But if you really want to move the needle in your career, there's probably some area where you would like to focus a lot more attention, somewhere where you would like to have your intentions known or make your intentions known so that you can take a step forward in the direction you want to go. One reason I recommend having a mentor in your life or someone with whom you can talk and share and get feedback from and run your ideas by them so that they can tell you what they think and give you their ideas and their notions for what you might do or might not do. That's a place where you can really apply incredible amounts of attention and intention and have someone there with you as an accountability partner to move forward and do the things that you are setting your intention that you're actually going to do. So whether your attention span is short, whether it's moderate, whether it's sustained in nature, one way to get your attention to pay more dividends for you is to use intention to set the goals and to tell yourself where you are headed and what you would like to do. So if you're paying attention to your career and you're aware that you are moving towards a period where you're probably going to be applying to graduate school because you think you're going to be needing a master's degree to do what it is you want to do, and you know that there are certain things you're going to have to pay attention to in order to fulfill the requirements of applying for graduate school programs as a MSN or as a nurse practitioner or clinical nurse specialist, you then need to set an intention that you are going to achieve particular goals by a particular time. So the attention is one piece. So graduate school's got your attention. It's something you want to do. You know it's something that has to be accomplished relatively soon. But you have to really go deep inside and set the intention, set the goals for what you're going to achieve and when, so that you can come out on the other side successful and thriving and thrilled with what you've accomplished. So setting an intention means stating out loud or in writing or both what it is that you want to accomplish. I recommend, if you're a spreadsheet kind of person, creating an Excel spreadsheet or a Google sheet on Google Docs and creating a list of the things that you need to accomplish, let's say, for example, to begin to apply to MSN programs. So you know you might have prerequisites you might need to take. You have an essay you need to write. You need interviews you need to prepare for, etc., etc. And what you're going to do is you're going to set specific measurable goals for when these things are going to be done, what actually needs to be done, and how you're going to make sure you get them done. So back on episode 37 of the Nurse Keith Show, a long time ago, I talked about setting SMART goals. And in the show notes, there will be a link to that episode and the show notes from that episode so that you can go back and learn more about SMART goals. But basically, you want to set goals that are measurable, that are time sensitive, and that are things you feel you can actually accomplish. They need to be realistic goals, and you can set a timeline for them. Like, for instance, my applications for MSN programs and NP programs are due by, let's say, September 30th, 2018. Okay, so I want to have my essays pretty much perfected by, let's say, August 15th, 2018. These are the steps I intend to take in order to get those essays written. These are the people I'm going to reach out to help me to read my essays, to give me feedback so that I know that they're really kick butt. And I am going to make sure that I leave myself enough of a cushion of time so that if I need to do any rewriting, I'll still be ready for that deadline when the applications are due. The intention is to get these things done, to set the SMART goals and have those goals accomplished by the date that you have set forth. That is part of the way that you keep your attention focused, set your intentions for what you're going to do, and have concrete, measurable, time-specific goals that you know are realistic that you can accomplish in due course. So this is the way that you can really use SMART goals and use that power of attention and the power of intention to shift into overdrive in your career and accomplish the things that you really need to do to make things go in the direction you need them to go. So intentions can be powerful, especially when they're fueled by the engine of SMART goals and also by the other engines of accountability, sustained attention, and a whole lot can get accomplished when you're able to pull that off. So remember, episode 37, you're going to go back and listen and read all about SMART goals, and this is going to help you to start setting intentions for this next period of time coming up. So speaking of your nursing career, you need to cultivate both attention and intention in a big, big way in order to move in the direction you would like to go. So as we've been discussing, you need your attention to be sustained and you need your intentions to be on target so that you can get the things done that need to get done. And going back to our original notion with which we started this episode, energy does definitely flow where attention goes. And if you're staying in the negative, if you're dwelling there, if you're only looking at the things that aren't working, you're really going to be missing the boat. You're going to be missing the party. And I don't want you to go there. You need those positive things to be your psycho-emotional focuses, not the negative parts that are going to drag you down. If you can keep that focus, if you can keep that intention and keep that drive clear and make sure that you know exactly what it is that you want, if you can become as crystal clear as possible, that is going to help you move things, and that is going to help you feel really good about the ways in which you're spending your time, your money, your energy, and your resources in the interest of your nursing career. So let's look at it this way. Your career is something you've worked really hard for. Whether you're a brand new nurse just out of school, or you're a nurse like me who's been in it for 20, 25, or 30 years, maybe you've been in it for 10 or 15, or maybe you've been in it for 50 or 60 years and you're looking to make a change. The quality of your attention is really what's going to show you where to go and where to put your money where your mouth is. So if you're talking the good talk about getting that master's degree, about getting that PCCN certification, about going back to school for a postgraduate certificate, whatever it happens to be, if you're talking the good talk, this is where the rubber hits the road and where you need to start walking the walk. You cannot just talk the talk. You have got to walk the walk. And that is where attention and intention come into play. Okay? I'm going to say that again. This is where attention and intention come into play in a very, very big way. If you need some help gaining that sort of attention and focusing yourself and then setting your intentions and goals for what you'd like to achieve, I am happy to help you do that. There are plenty of other people out there who can help you do that as well. You don't necessarily need to hire a coach like me, though it might be helpful in your circumstance. You might have a colleague who's willing to mentor you through a certain process you're undergoing, like applying to that Master's of Science in Nursing program. You might have a family member. You might have a spouse or a friend or a colleague who's willing to be your accountability buddy and hold your feet to the fire so that those intentions you set, they actually get taken care of. You may be able to do this on your own, or you may need an accountability partner who can help carry you across that finish line, or at least be pushing you from behind so that you cross that finish line when you would like to. Finally, one final thought. We were talking earlier, or I was talking earlier, you were listening, about disabled spouses, disabled children, elderly parents, our difficult life circumstances. Again, these things are going to definitely throw wrenches in your engine. They're going to gum up the works. And sometimes when we've set our intentions and we've set our goals, remember that sometimes we need to go back and set new intentions and new goals. If something comes along in your personal life that changes the trajectory of your life, let's say a divorce or a birth or a loss of life or limb or a job by a spouse, whatever it happens to be, things happen in this complex 21st century world. As many intentions as we set, as much as we focus our attention on what it is we want to do and we have a single-minded focus to get us there, we all know that stuff happens. And we need to be forgiving of ourselves when we're not able to fulfill those goals, when we're not able to fully honor our intentions, and we need to go back and set new goals. So if we think about the nursing process, and I know I talk about the nursing process again, but I think about the nursing process a lot actually. Remember, we have assessment, diagnosis, planning, implementation, and evaluation. So if you have made some plans, you've made an assessment and come up with interventions and a plan to get that Master's of Science in Nursing, and something happens in your personal life that throws a wrench in the works, well, you're going to have to go back and reevaluate, do a new assessment, come up with a new diagnosis, and then create a new timeline for when you're going to apply to school, a new timeline for when you're going to get those essays done or find the mentor that you need. So remember, gentleness is important here, forgiveness is important, flexibility is important, but not just giving up. It just means that sometimes we have to change course or do something a little differently so that we can carry things forward in a timely manner. I want to thank you for listening to this episode of the Nurse Keith Show. We are talking about attention and intention. I want you to feel uplifted and empowered from this episode, and I want you to do the homework of looking at what your attention is focused on right now at this point in your life. Where is your attention going? What is calling your name? Where do you find your gaze going over and over and over again? Now, depending on what is taking your attention, I would also like to ask, what are your intentions for, let's say, the next 3 months of your life in your career? What are some goals you would like to accomplish in the next 90 days? Please feel free to email me at keith@nursekeith.com. Tell me 1, 2, or 3 goals that you would like to accomplish in the next 90 days. I will mark those in my calendar, and I will check back with you in 90 days to see how you are doing and if you need any support in maybe changing direction or coming up with some new intentions if those goals didn't pan out, or we can celebrate the fact that you actually achieved the intentions and the goals that you set. So please reach out to me. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what your intentions are, and I will do my very, very best to support you. I want you to remember that I'm on Facebook Live pretty much every Wednesday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. Join me for a live conversation every week, or just head over to Nurse Keith Coaching on Facebook anytime to watch and listen to the archived videos. There's quite a few there now. And did you know that you could become a patron of the Nurse Keith Show? That's right. You can join listeners Wendy, Scott, Bradley, and Christine who've become patrons, and I'm so grateful to them for pledging just a little bit to the show every month in exchange for the value they receive from listening. So head over to patreon.com/Nurse Keith. That's patreon.com/Nurse Keith for more information about how to pledge, how to give, and what you will get from me in return as a token of my gratitude. The Nurse Keith Show is edited and produced by Tim Hollowell of thepodcastinggroup.com, and social media and promotional handled by Mark Capispisen. Make sure to head over to nursekeith.com to check out my newsletter and subscribe. Leave me a voicemail by clicking on the pink banner on the left-hand side of the homepage. So I want you to stay positive, care for yourself and others, take inspired action in the interest of your career, and keep tuning in again and again as we explore how to take your life and your nursing career to the very next level and beyond. Be well, dig deep, stay curious, create success, seek joy, and keep in touch. This is Nurse Keith signing off from episode 159 of The Nurse Keith Show from beautiful Santa Fe, New Mexico. Adios till next time, folks.